Before we get into today's video, and boy is it a good one, I want to make sure you're following me on Twitter. At Nic_Rohloff is my handle. I talk about the Miami Heat every single day and provide content, analysis, laughs in between each video here on the channel. And if any news ever happened around the Miami Heat, my Twitter would be the first place you'd see it before we come over on the YouTube side and make a video. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Nic_Rohloff. Folks, the Miami Heat might have a problem on their hands. It makes me not very happy to have to make this video, but I just got to call it how I see it. These two lead that problem, Tyler Herro and Terry Rozier. You might be asking yourself, what Herro Rozier problem could the Heat have? Well, I actually think it's this. I don't think a starting backcourt of Tyler Herro and Terry Rozier is conducive to a lot of wins. Yes, I said it. I just don't think the two really work well together. And I know that I've been very optimistic in the past about those two because they can be so good offensively at times, each averaging 15, 16 plus points a game respectively and being good from beyond the arc. But when you really deep dive into the analytics and defensive side of it, I just don't think these two can really play together on the court that often. I'll explain why, and number one reason why I'm skeptical of these two ever working together on the court is that they're both poor defenders. And in the NBA nowadays, you need to be able to defend, and that's why Jimmy Butler and Bam are such a good duo, because they both can do it on each side of the floor at the highest levels that the game can seize. Well, Tyler Herro and Terry Rozier only are good on one side of the floor. When you look at the two players' individual defensive rating, they are not pretty. Tyler Herro's last season came at 114.2, which is actually 3 ratings better than Terry Rozier, who over his 2 tenures last season with half Miami, half Charlotte, had a 117.5 defensive rating. That is not good, and we often talk about how poor Tyler Herro is defensively. Terry Rozier is arguably worse, and it's not for a lack of speed or athleticism or anything like that. He just simply isn't as good. I don't know if it is a effort thing or not, but it's very clear to me that both of these players struggle on the defensive side of the floor, and Terry Rozier, who is an undersized guard, struggles even more than Tyler Herro does. And that's kind of the name of the game here, is that when you think about how these two players stack up with the rest of the league in terms of their size, it's really not ideal in different metrics. We'll start with Tyler. 6'6" as a 2 guard is good. 6'6", that plays. Issue, 6'3" and a quarter wingspan. Having a negative wingspan is very, very bad. And having a negative wingspan to that degree, where it's 2.5, 2 3/4 inches less than your height, it just doesn't allow you to contest shots efficiently, and you kind of look little out there because your opposing player that you're defending can just rise over the top of you or take you to the rack and not really fear your ability to get your hand on the ball or really contest it because you got so small arms. And then when you talk about Terry Rozier, he actually does have a really good plus wingspan at a +6. That's incredible. But he's only 6'2" and 2/4, which is pretty undersized for today's NBA when you're seeing every guard and their mom be 6'4", 6'5", it feels like minimum. And he also doesn't have a lot of weight to him, only 190 pounds, which allows him to really get taken inside and get driven on quite a bit more than you would think. And I can try to razzle you and wow you with all the numbers, size, the metrics that I want, but really all it takes is the eye test. Like, I should not be breaking news to you right now that these two players are bad defenders. When you just watch them two play basketball and try to watch them play defense in one-on-one situations, it just does not go that well. And to me, this kind of leads to a overarching problem where it's tough to play these two together in meaningful moments. Like, if you're in a clutch situation, you're down by 3 with 2 minutes to go. Do you really feel comfortable having Tyler Herro and Terry Rozier on the court at the same time? No, You don't. And it's the reason why in the minimal amount of games that they played together, it was only 11 last season that they played together, by the way, due to injuries for both guys being in and out of the lineup, that they rarely shared the court in the biggest moments. It was always the hot hand who got the play. If Herro was having a good game, he would be on the floor late in the fourth quarter. If it was Rozier, he would be on the court and Herro would be on the bench. It's just too difficult to play these two at the same time in clutch situations because of how bad they are together defensively and overall, honestly, as individuals defensively. We got more to talk about here coming up in just a second, but let me know, are you concerned about a Herro and Rozier backcourt, as they are likely probably going to be your starters if they don't make a move in the next 2 months here? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Don't lie. Let me know your true thoughts. The second reason why I'm skeptical on these two players sharing a backcourt and starting together is that they're both not good finishers at the rim. Yeah, they can score the basketball, but they don't do it at an efficient rate and give opposing defenses something to think about inside the arc because they can't finish. We'll start with Terry Rozier and look at his shot chart from the 23-24 season, which spans across his time in Charlotte and Miami. We always talk about it, folks. Light blue, bad. Dark blue, good. So what is good here? Well, he's a really good shooter from the right wing and top of the key. But the left wing, left corner, right corner, that's even a little bit sketchy. He's really good in the mid-range. But look at all that light blue at the rim. He is not a good finisher inside the restricted area, the painted area, within 5 to 6 feet of the basket. That's where the shots should come the easiest. Terry Rozier struggled. Now let's look at Tyler Herro's, because it's equally as bad. Now you're going to see more efficiency from beyond the arc. Like I said, a lot of dark blue at the top of the key and in the corner. Herro is always going to be one of the best shooters from beyond the arc in the NBA. But once again, what's the common theme here? Look at the light blue inside the restricted area and within 6 feet of the basket. They both are not good finishers at the rim, and specifically in Tyler's case, he's also not very good in the 8 to 10 feet range on that right little mid-range just outside the painted area. He does have a nice little floater game at the free throw line. That's always been a strong part of his game. And when you look at where it compares in league average and really look at the numbers instead of just looking at pixels and colors, this is what the finishing rates for these two players were in 23-24. Herro in that restricted area shot 85 of 169, which is 50.3%. Terry Rozier, who got it to that range a lot more and was more comfortable driving to the rim, went 179 of 334, which is 53.6%. But you see at the bottom of your screen, league average in that zone right at the rim and in the restricted area is 59.9%. So Tyler Herro is 9.6% under league average, which makes him one of the worst finishers in the NBA, and Terry Rozier 6.3% under league average, which makes him one of the worst finishers in the NBA. It's very difficult to have an efficient offense when your two lead guards have to score from 3 and in the mid-range because they are not good at getting to the rim and finishing amongst the trees. They are two of the worst efficient scorers in that guard position in that range in the NBA, and it's holding this team back, and it's hard to have two guards share the floor who can't defend and can't put pressure on opposing defenses at the rim and finish. That causes some issues. More to talk about here in just a second, but make sure you are getting your tickets to any event this upcoming year with Game Time, the #1 place to do it. It's the only place I get my tickets, whether it's to a sporting event, a concert, a comedy show, theater. It does not matter. Use Game Time to go watch your favorite events in person, and you can get $20 off with code CHATSPORTS when you download the app and create an account. The reasons why I love Game Time is because they have so many features that make getting tickets easier. They've got zone deals, which allows you to save even more money when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the sheets. They also have all-in pricing, which allows you to see the total money up front when you're looking at tickets instead of getting surprised with fees at checkout. They also have the lowest price guaranteed. If you find the same seat in the same section, same row on a different ticketing app for less money, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Gotta love all the deals that Game Time has for you to make getting tickets to your favorite events even more easy. And I know the Dolphins are coming up. The Marlins are still playing ball. Heat, you got to wait a little bit, but there's still a lot of fun events to go to in the city of Miami or wherever you are located. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app today, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and use code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. The final reason why I'm a little bit skeptical of a Terry Rozier, Tyler Herro backcourt is that there's no natural playmaking from either player. And that is an issue when those are your two lead guards. When you look at the two players and their career assists per game, they're the exact same. 3.6 for Tyler, 3.6 for Terry. Now, Herro's had some better moments in terms of playmaking and assisting. For example, in Game 2 of the NBA playoffs this past year, when it was Herro, Bam, Jaquez, and the Heat went into Boston to get the upset in their lone win this postseason, Herro was terrific. He had 20 points. He had double-digit assists. That was a Tyler Herro that looked like a player that can be the third best player on a championship contending team. But when you just look at what the average is and what you would expect on a nightly basis from the two players, they don't get looks for others. And that's a serious issue. It is. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Rozier and Herro are both more well-suited, and their play styles are more suited to being shooting guards. And that's not an issue. That's how they play. It's an issue from the front office from thinking that they can be a 1 and a 2 together in a backcourt. And Rozier's height says 1, but his play style says 2. Herro is a 2. That makes sense. But when you have these two in the backcourt, you ask yourself, who is your playmaker? Who is the person creating for others? Well, that answer and the best person could be Nikola Jovic at the 4, or Bam at the 5, or Jimmy at the 3. Like, I would almost consider those three players better playmakers and initiators on the offensive end than Herro and Rozier. Those two guys know how to get a bucket. They do, in the pick and roll. But they don't know how to create better looks and get their teammates more open shots. And that is a serious issue, in my opinion. It's also a reason why we've been clamoring for a real point guard to help Bam Adebayo out and get him a better lob thrower and playmaker in the pick and rolls. It's a serious issue that both these guys can't really play make. We'll round out the show and kind of what my solution is here in just a second. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because we're going to give you the best Heat coverage there is on YouTube. And when games resume in about 2 months, we will be live for almost every game like we were a season ago. Watch parties are a ton of blast. Get your seat in now and consider yourself a real one by subscribing in the offseason instead of when the games start in a couple months. All right, so what is the solution to this problem that Miami currently has? I think you got to trade one of them. Or someone has to head to the bench. Now, we've talked about a Tyler Herro trade for a while, potentially trading Terry Rozier as well. Unlikely going to happen. But what could happen is someone go to the bench. Because kind of like I said with the playmaking issue, is like no matter which one you start, there still is going to be no natural playmaker. If Rozier's your starter, and say you start Jaquez or Duncan Robinson at the 2, well, you're still banking on Terry Rozier to be your point guard and lead distributor. And if you move Terry Rozier to the bench to be the backcourt or to be the 6th man, and you start Duncan or you start Jaime Jaquez and have a little bit of a bigger lineup, well, you're still banking on Tyler Herro to be your point guard. Like, either way you slice it, there is no natural playmaker and point guard for this Heat team, and that is a serious issue, which is why a lot of us were clamoring to try to get Tyus Jones in a sign-and trade. So it's just a little bit of a disaster if you ask me, and even though one of them could go to the bench, like, I don't even know which one would really make a lot of sense. But to really round out today's show and hammer my point home, to tell you why these two can't play together, I looked up the Rozier-Herro duo in terms of their ratings this past season. They played 11 games together. Yeah, that only 11 games. They played 188 minutes together in those 11 games, and they had a negative rating. Their net rating was -3. Their offensive rating was 114.7, which is not bad. It actually is pretty solid. But the defensive rating, which is what my number one concern was about this team or this duo, was 117.7. It was, whenever you have a net rating as a duo, it's not good. And the proof is in the pudding, man. It is. Like, it's just very clear to me after I've gone through the defensive ratings that I showed you, the shot charts of how they are inefficient at the rim together and individually, and then this Rozier-Herro duo, it's just so clear to me that these two players cannot play together. It's unfortunate, and maybe the solution is putting one to the bench and whoever it be just staggers minutes and you only maybe share like 4 or 5 minutes a game where you have Herro play 28, 30 minutes, Rozier play 24, 25 minutes off the bench, and you kind of stagger those minutes and then only have them share the court maybe a couple times in the second and third quarter. But either way, I don't love these two playing together, and if the Heat tried out a starting lineup on night one of Herro, Rozier, Jimmy, Bam, Jovic, like I'm going to be a little bit skeptical of that backcourt and how they defend in the NBA. That's going to do it for today's show. Like I said earlier, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Nic_Rohloff because I'm bringing you daily content over there as well as on YouTube. And there's no better fan base on the NBA Twitterverse than the Heat. I love being a part of it. So join me over there at Nic_Rohloff.